So let's spend the whole week together doing a week of meals. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. This is a Saturday video where we talk and make meals together of everything the husband and I eat in this house. It's mostly dedicated to dinners. Lunch is always leftovers from the night before. Breakfast is pretty much fend for yourself. We have oatmeal, we have French toast, we have eggs, we have the things to make breakfast, but I don't designate time to make breakfast for the husband and I, but we do occasionally. So if that's something you're interested in, please stick around. It's going to be a great video. So our first meal this week is, if you saw last week's video, we cooked a chicken in the crock pot with some of our chicken dry rub. We're actually going to heat this up in the microwave. We're going to have this, plus I'm going to make some shells and Alfredo. Coming in a little closer and let's get this video started. So I have a wedge of Parmesan cheese, and it's a 0.39 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and grate this whole thing. We're probably not going to need it all because I'm only doing 8 ounces of pasta. But whatever we don't use, we'll put in a Ziploc bag and put in the refrigerator. I have a pot of water on the stove coming up to a boil, so we can go ahead and get started on cooking the pasta. All right, give me a few minutes. Let me get this cheese all grated. And then we'll get started on heating up this chicken. You know what? I think I'm gonna put it in the oven. I have the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm just going to break this up just a bit into smaller pieces. My husband and I have been eating on this for the last couple days. All right, that's all bones. Let me put this in the oven. I need to put the bones in their scrap bag. Let me wash my hands. All right, back to the cheese. So I picked up the milk this morning and separated the heavy cream. We're going to actually use that instead of taking one out of the freezer, letting it thaw. We're just going to use the fresh one from today. Now y'all have watched me make Alfredo sauce 100 million times, but that's what we're going to make. So I'm going to start off about a tablespoon of butter and about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and add a good pinch of pepper. Oop, burner's not even on. Try it again. Okay. And a good pinch of salt. And we're going to use the Italian dressing blend. We're going to put about a teaspoon. I have a pint size jar of heavy cream. I'm not going to use it all because we're only doing this as a side dish. It's just going to be the pasta and the chicken we have in the oven. So I'm going to do half of this. So about a cup. All right, that looks like a cup. Let that heat up, and then we'll add Parmesan cheese. Once the Parmesan cheese melts, we'll put in the pasta. That's about half of the Parmesan cheese. The other half I've already put in a Ziploc bag. Let's taste it for salt and pepper. Family, it's perfect. We have 8 ounces of shells just sitting in the sink in this strainer. Stir that in. And that's it. We're done. Let's check on the chicken. Oh, yep, that's done. In the time it took to cook the pasta, grate the cheese, make this Alfredo sauce, the chicken was heated up. Super fast dinner tonight, family. Go ahead and make a plate for the husband. I have some wings in here, some white and dark meat. And some pasta. Now we're making our plate. The chicken is just as good today as it was the day we made it. And Alfredo sauce is so easy to make. Stop buying the little envelopes that you add milk to, instant Alfredo. Stop buying the jar of Alfredo. Get a good quality heavy cream, good quality Parmesan cheese, cook your pasta, salt and pepper, and any seasonings you want. So simple, family. And so delicious. All right, the husband and I are going to sit down and have dinner. Can't wait to see you in the kitchen when we get together and cook another delicious, healthy meal. So tonight we're just having tacos and some baked beans. I'll put a link right there of a video that we made tacos together. Same thing, ground beef, some frozen tomato paste, some taco seasoning, refried beans because we like double deckers, and this time we're doing baked beans. So that's what's for dinner today. I can't wait to see you in the kitchen the next time. Well, it's time to cook dinner again. When I cook a meal, sometimes I'll use a recipe, either something we created or I'll look on Google. This is something that I just thought about. In my mind, I was doing an inventory of what we have in our freezer, in our refrigerator, in our pantry. And I says, yeah, we can do this. So this is totally made up. It's either going to be a success or a flop. I'm going to show you how we cook the chicken in the Instant Pot. I am so sorry the lighting is bad. I have the Instant Pot and I have a rack in here. I am going to add 2 cups of water. I have one of our whole cut up chickens. I did thaw it in the refrigerator for 2 days. And this is chicken that we bought and we cut up ourselves. Everything minus the wings. I just want to layer them in here in a semi-single layer. That looks good. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. and about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. That is all we're going to do. We're going to put the lid on and we're going to hit the poultry button. I want to raise it to 20 minutes and let that go. Once it comes up to pressure, it's going to cook for 20 minutes and we're going to let it natural release. So now that we got our chicken cooked, I went to the pantry and got everything else we needed. Let's go ahead and get this recipe started. So I cooked the chicken in the Instant Pot. And then I just let it natural release. And I just left it in there until I got time to get to it. But let's go ahead and take all the meat off of the bones. We're saving the bones. And we'll just keep it in the freezer until we're ready to make chicken stock. So in this bowl, I am going to put all the meat. In this bowl, I'm going to put all the bones. It is still warm. I do want to remove all the skin. Okay, hold up. New plan. Give it a rough chop. All right, let me go through all the chicken, debone it, deskin it, get the meat in this bowl, and then I'll show you everything else we're going to put in here. We started off with 2 cups of water in here, but this is actually now chicken broth. So I'm going to strain it. And now we have some chicken broth for a future recipe. And once this cools off, I'll put it in the refrigerator. And the bones will go in here. And we'll just add it to the freezer, and the next time we need to make chicken stock, we got our bones. Just picking through, make sure I'm not getting any of that skin. That's just grease. All right, that'll work. This is actually a home canned enchilada sauce. I made this several years back. Never made it before. Did not know what I was doing. You're supposed to strain it before you can it, and I did not strain it. So in this bowl, I rinsed out. I have a fine mesh strainer. I'm going to dump this in, and then we'll get it strained. And if you don't have a homemade enchilada sauce, you can use canned, whichever brand you like. This is when I started getting into pressure canning. I did not understand, why do we need to strain it? Now I understand. So if we make it again, we're definitely going to strain it before we put it in jars. But that's okay. Just moving it around in this fine mesh strainer. Separate the liquid from the solid pieces. So simple. All right, that is good. Now we're going to throw this in the trash. Get all the goodness off of here first. All right, so we have our chicken. I have a homemade fajita seasoning. I'm gonna put in about maybe 2 tablespoons. I have a can of green chilies going in. Let's mix that up just a bit. And then let's add a little bit of our enchilada sauce in here. Let's taste it to make sure it has the right amount of salt and pepper and the fajita seasoning. All right, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and another tablespoon of fajita seasoning. And that's a total of 3. Let's stir that in. Let's go ahead and put a little bit more enchilada sauce in there also. Perfect. Now I know these have a name and I can't think of it. If you know what these are called, please leave a comment below. I cannot remember. But I have some corn tortillas, and I think they might be like 6 inches. I'm just going to toast those up really quick on the stovetop in a cast iron griddle. And then we're just going to put some meat and cheese and roll them up. I'm hoping out of this one chicken, I can get enough for us to eat for dinner tonight, leftovers for lunch tomorrow, and then possibly get some of these in the freezer. If that happens, I will be super happy. The griddle is hot. Let's go ahead and put these on here just to warm them up a bit. And we'll do 4 at a time. I got it on a medium low. I have a plate with a clean dish towel. So when they come off of the griddle, we can put them in there and they can stay warm while we're working on them. It's probably going to take about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. When they're warm, they're actually more pliable and we'll be able to roll them up without breaking. And keep them covered up. So do you like corn tortillas or do you like flour tortillas better? I like them both. It really depends on the application, and it also depends on what I have in my house. I have corn tortillas today. You'll start seeing them puff up, creating air bubbles. That's when you know it's ready to turn. All right, we're gonna start with 12. So this is some pepper jack cheese. I want to put maybe a cup in here. I'm going to eyeball it. There we go. Now if you want, you can put refried beans in here. You can put corn, black beans. You make this any way you want. This is what I want. All right, perfect. So we're gonna take one of our warm corn tortillas, get a good little, maybe a quarter of a cup, and then we're just gonna roll these up. And we're gonna put them in our pan. All right, let me get all of these done. Heat up the tortillas as we move on, and then we'll finish this dish. Like I said, I'm hoping to get some in the freezer for a future meal, and then we'll have this one for dinner. And if we don't get it in the freezer, that's okay. We'll just know the next time we'll double this recipe so we can have a freezer meal also. See how easy they roll up when they're soft after heating them up? So are these burritos? I would think not, because we don't have rice and beans in here. Is it Tostitos? I think they are flat. Gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up and see what it is. I can't remember. And you can use beef, you can use pork, anything that you can shred would be perfect. All right, that's the last one. Let me wash my hands, and then we'll go back and start some more of these corn tortillas. I want to share with you my Goodwill find. This is one of those bacon dishes that comes with the cover. So happy to have this. Found it at Goodwill. So this is going to be the freezer meal. All right, so we got one for now and one for the freezer. I'm going to put a little bit of enchilada sauce on these, just a drizzle, not a lot. They don't need to be completely covered. This one is for the freezer. And this one, we're going to wrap up with aluminum foil, and we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 15-20 minutes. Doesn't need to go very long. We've heated the tortillas, we cooked the chicken, all the ingredients we put in there, the cheese, the green chilies, and the taco season is ready to go. The only thing we're going to serve on the side is I took one of our home canned pinto beans. I'm just going to heat that up on the stove, and then we'll have this as a side dish. So in the oven, 350 degrees for about 15-20 minutes. And that's the perfect amount of time to do dishes. So I opened that jar of beans and I have it on the stove on a very low heat, just warming it up. Corn tortillas, chicken, roll-ups, whatever they are, is in the oven. The other one's sitting right here to go into the freezer. But I thought I would take this opportunity to ask you, how do you store your Instant Pot? A lot of people will store it with the lid locked on. That's the worst thing to do. This gasket, even though it's silicone, it needs to make sure it's completely dry before you put it away. So we take the gasket off, we wash it, We dry it as best as we can, put the gasket back on, and sometimes we'll just put it on here and lock it down. There's no air circulation and mold will grow on that gasket. So the way you store an Instant Pot, whether you keep it on the counter or you keep it in a cabinet or you keep it in your pantry, store it with the lid upside down so air can circulate and it will not grow mold. Now when I store mine, I don't store it with the insert. I keep that separate. Button in here that activates whether you can turn it on or off. I don't want that to stay weighed down or any pressure on it when I'm not using it. So I keep the insert separate, the lid upside down, and I store it this way. If you store your Instant Pot different, might be better, please leave a comment below and let us know how you store yours so that we can figure out which is the best way. Grammy's way or your way or something totally different. Back in the cabinet, and this is an 8-quart, not a 6-quart. This is huge. All right, the beans are done. I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. They're nice and warm. So we had it in there for about 15 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese on top. And then I'm going to bake it just till the cheese melts, maybe another 5-10 minutes. All right, that looks good. All right, back in the oven, 5 or 10 more minutes until that cheese melts and becomes ooey and gooey. Look at that, family. Cheesy, delicious. And the beans. Do you want to know what my favorite part about cooking dinner? Dishes. Kidding. It's not. But I don't mind doing dishes because dirty dishes means my family is eating a healthy meal that I created. So although we got all the dishes washed that we used to cook this dinner, we're now going to have dirty dishes from eating this dinner. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and take out 2 of these delicious, whatever they're called. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, it's so hot. Okay, perfect. We're going to put some pinto beans. And that's what's for dinner. It's going to be so hot. The flavor is spot on. And the beans, we know they're good because we canned those. So we started off by cooking a whole cut up chicken in the Instant Pot. And out of that one chicken, we actually had more than 2 meals. This is actually dinner today and lunch tomorrow. Plus we got one that's going to go into the freezer. And when we're ready to cook this, we'll take it out of the freezer, put it in the refrigerator until it thaws. Then we'll stick it in the oven, not with this lid. We'd have to cover it with aluminum foil. Bake it for about 15 minutes. Take the aluminum foil off, add some cheese, and bake it again for another 5 to 10 minutes. So out of that one chicken, we have 2 dinners with enough for leftovers for lunch the next day. The beans we canned a while back, have those on our pantry shelves. So our next time that we need to make this will go by even faster. Oh, family, so good. If you enjoy the weekly meals that Grammy cooks in the kitchen, please give this video a thumbs up. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. And I can't wait to see you on the next video. You have a blessed day. Bye, family. The best meals are the ones that you create at that time. Yum-y.